There is a difference between being kind and being nice. Most people spend their entire lives confusing the two. They believe that saying yes to everything makes them a good person. They believe that avoiding conflict is a sign of wisdom. They believe that sacrificing themselves for everyone else is love. But slowly, without realizing it, they lose themselves. Many people spend their entire lives believing that being a good person means saying yes to every request, avoiding every disagreement, and making sure everyone around them feels comfortable. From childhood, they are praised for being agreeable, obedient, and easy to deal with. Over time, they begin to measure their worth by how much they can satisfy others. They become afraid that refusing a favor, expressing a different opinion, or putting themselves first will make them seem selfish. This belief slowly becomes a habit, and before they realize it, they are living a life shaped more by other people's expectations than by their own values. There is a quiet but powerful difference between kindness and people-pleasing. Kindness comes from choice. People-pleasing comes from fear. A kind person helps because they genuinely want to. A people-pleaser helps because they fear rejection, criticism, or disappointment. One is guided by compassion, while the other is controlled by anxiety. Although both actions may look similar from the outside, the intention behind them changes everything. One leaves you feeling peaceful. The other leaves you feeling exhausted. When your decisions are driven by the need for approval, you slowly lose the ability to hear your own inner voice. You begin asking yourself what others expect instead of asking what is right. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to avoid conflict rather than express honesty. You smile when you feel hurt, remain silent when something bothers you, and accept situations that go against your values simply because you fear upsetting someone. Little by little, your true personality becomes hidden beneath a mask created to keep everyone else comfortable. Real kindness does not require you to betray yourself. It does not ask you to ignore your needs or sacrifice your peace every single day. A compassionate person understands that helping others is meaningful only when it comes from a place of balance. If you constantly ignore your own well-being, your kindness will eventually become mixed with frustration and resentment. You may continue giving on the outside, but inside you will feel emotionally drained because your generosity is no longer supported by genuine willingness. People often mistake approval for love. They believe that if everyone likes them, they must be doing something right. But approval is temporary because it depends on changing opinions. One person praises you today and criticizes you tomorrow. If your happiness depends on keeping everyone satisfied, your emotional state will constantly rise and fall based on circumstances you cannot control. Inner stability is impossible when your self-worth is placed in the hands of others. A person who is truly kind does not help to earn acceptance. They help because it reflects who they are. They are willing to listen, support, encourage, and care for others, but they also understand that kindness without wisdom becomes weakness. They know that constantly rescuing people from the consequences of their own choices can prevent growth. Sometimes the most compassionate response is allowing someone to face responsibility instead of protecting them from every difficulty. Fear often disguises itself as kindness. You may tell yourself that you are simply being nice, when in reality, you are afraid of disappointing someone. You may agree to extra responsibilities because you fear being judged. You may avoid speaking the truth because you worry someone will become angry. In these moments, your actions are not guided by love, but by the desire to escape discomfort. This creates a cycle where your life becomes increasingly shaped by fear instead of honesty. Kindness requires courage. It takes courage to be honest without becoming harsh. It takes courage to decline requests when your time and energy are already stretched. It takes courage to express your true thoughts, even when others may disagree. Compassion is not about making every person happy. It is about acting with integrity while respecting both yourself and those around you. Imagine carrying a heavy bag every single day because you believe putting it down would disappoint someone else. At first, the weight feels manageable, but over time your shoulders become tired, your posture weakens, and every step requires more effort. This is what happens when you carry the emotional expectations of everyone around you. You become so focused on meeting their needs that you forget your own strength requires care as well. A balanced life is not built by endless sacrifice, but by understanding that your well-being also deserves protection. When you no longer seek approval as proof of your value, your relationships become more honest. You stop pretending to agree with everything. You become comfortable expressing respectful disagreement. You offer help because your heart is willing, not because your fear demands it. Your kindness becomes lighter, more genuine, and free from hidden expectations. Instead of constantly asking how to make everyone accept you, you begin asking whether your actions align with your principles, your character, and the person you are becoming. Protecting your time, energy, and peace begins with understanding that boundaries are not walls built to keep people out. They are clear lines that define what you are willing to accept and what you are not. Many people avoid setting boundaries because they fear being misunderstood. They believe that saying no will make them appear selfish, rude, or uncaring. As a result, they continue agreeing to requests they do not have the strength, time, or desire to fulfill. They sacrifice their own well-being in an attempt to preserve the comfort of others, only to discover that constant self-sacrifice leaves them emotionally and mentally exhausted. Every time you say yes to something that goes against your priorities, you are quietly saying no to something that truly matters. You say no to rest, to personal growth, to meaningful relationships, or to the goals that deserve your attention. Time is one of the few resources that can never be recovered once it has passed. Every unnecessary commitment takes a piece of it away. This is why learning to say no is not about rejecting people. It is about protecting the life you are trying to build. Many people confuse guilt with responsibility. They feel guilty whenever someone is disappointed by their decision, even when they have done nothing wrong. But another person's disappointment does not automatically mean you have acted unfairly. People are allowed to feel unhappy with your choices, just as you are allowed to make decisions that honor your own values. Emotional maturity means accepting that you cannot control how everyone reacts to your boundaries. A healthy boundary is spoken calmly, not aggressively. It does not require anger, lengthy explanations, or endless apologies. It is simply a clear expression of your limits. When you communicate honestly and respectfully, you give others the opportunity to understand where you stand. Those who genuinely respect you may not always agree with your decision, but they will recognize your right to make it. Those who become upset simply because they can no longer benefit from your endless availability reveal more about their expectations than about your character. Energy is just as valuable as time. Every conversation, obligation, and relationship requires emotional investment. If you constantly give your attention to situations that drain you, there will be little left for the people and goals that truly deserve it. Protecting your energy means recognizing which interactions leave you feeling inspired and which leave you feeling depleted. It means understanding that not every argument deserves your participation, not every invitation deserves your acceptance, and not every opinion deserves your emotional response. Many people live as though they must always be available. They answer every message immediately, accept every invitation, solve every problem, and carry responsibilities that were never theirs. Eventually, they begin feeling overwhelmed without understanding why. The reason is simple. Their schedule has become controlled by everyone else's priorities instead of their own. A life without boundaries becomes a life directed by external demands rather than internal purpose. Saying no is a skill that becomes stronger with practice. At first, it may feel uncomfortable because you are breaking old habits. You may worry about hurting someone's feelings or creating temporary tension. Yet discomfort is often a sign that you are growing beyond patterns that no longer serve you. Confidence is built each time you honor your limits instead of abandoning them to gain approval. Boundaries also protect the quality of your relationships. When you constantly agree to things you secretly resent, frustration quietly builds beneath the surface. Over time, that hidden resentment can damage even the strongest connections. Honest communication prevents this. It allows people to know the real you instead of a version that exists only to satisfy their expectations. Relationships become healthier when they are built on honesty rather than silent sacrifice. Your peace deserves the same level of protection as your physical health. Just as you would not allow anyone to continuously harm your body, you should not allow constant negativity, manipulation, or emotional pressure to disturb your inner balance. Peace is not something that appears by accident. It is created through daily decisions about what you allow into your life and what you choose to leave behind. Every boundary you set is a statement about how you value yourself. It reminds you that your time has purpose, your energy has limits, and your peace is worth protecting. When your choices reflect self-respect instead of fear, you begin living with greater clarity, confidence, and emotional freedom, allowing your actions to come from genuine intention rather than obligation, and giving yourself permission to invest your attention where it creates the greatest meaning and lasting fulfillment. One of the greatest traps a person can fall into is the endless pursuit of approval. It begins quietly, often in childhood, when praise feels like proof that you are worthy. You learn that being accepted brings comfort, while being criticized creates discomfort. As the years pass, this habit becomes deeply rooted. Instead of asking yourself what is right, you begin asking what others will think. Your choices become guided by the opinions of people who may not even understand your goals, your values, or your purpose. Without realizing it, you hand over the direction of your life to voices outside yourself. The desire to be liked by everyone is impossible to satisfy because every person sees the world through a different lens. What one person admires, another may criticize. What one person calls confidence, another may call arrogance. If you constantly change yourself to match every opinion, you will eventually lose sight of who you truly are. A life built on approval has no stable foundation because public opinion changes as quickly as the wind. Many people remain silent when they should speak because they fear disagreement. They hide their true thoughts to avoid making others uncomfortable. They agree with ideas they do not believe in simply to fit in. At first, these moments seem small, but each one teaches your mind that honesty is less important than acceptance. Slowly, your authentic voice becomes quieter, while your fear of rejection grows stronger. The need for approval affects every area of life. It influences careers when people choose jobs that impress others instead of pursuing meaningful work. It shapes relationships when people stay in unhealthy situations because they fear being alone. It limits personal growth when individuals avoid taking risks simply because failure might invite criticism. Every decision becomes filtered through one question: what will people think? This question has stopped countless dreams before they ever had a chance to begin. Real confidence is not created by hearing compliments every day. It is created by knowing your values so clearly that outside opinions no longer determine your direction. Confidence grows when your actions match your principles instead of your fears. It comes from making choices that allow you to respect yourself, even if those choices are not popular. There will always be people who misunderstand you. Some will judge your decisions without knowing your circumstances. Others will criticize your growth because it reminds them of the changes they are unwilling to make. Their opinions are reflections of their own experiences, expectations, and beliefs. They are not reliable measurements of your worth. Once you understand, this criticism begins to lose its power over your emotions. Approval can become addictive because it offers temporary emotional rewards. Every compliment feels satisfying. Every positive reaction provides a moment of reassurance. But like anything based on external validation, the feeling fades quickly. Soon you begin searching for the next compliment, the next sign of acceptance, the next confirmation that you are enough. This endless cycle leaves you emotionally dependent on things you cannot control. Freedom begins when you no longer need constant reassurance from the outside. Instead of asking whether everyone approves of your choices, you begin asking whether your choices reflect your deepest values. This shift changes everything. Decisions become clearer because they are guided by purpose instead of fear. Your energy is no longer wasted trying to manage every opinion around you. You accept that agreement from everyone is neither possible nor necessary. Living honestly does not mean becoming careless about other people's feelings. It means refusing to betray yourself just to avoid temporary discomfort. Respectful disagreement is healthier than dishonest agreement. Speaking your truth with calmness creates stronger character than remaining silent to protect your image. People may not always appreciate your honesty immediately, but they will know where you stand. Every person who has accomplished something meaningful has faced criticism. Every leader, artist, entrepreneur, teacher, and thinker has encountered people who doubted them. If they had waited until everyone approved of their path, they would have remained exactly where they started. Growth always requires stepping beyond the comfort of universal acceptance. The moment you stop measuring your value through the opinions of others, you begin building a stronger relationship with yourself. You become less afraid of rejection because your confidence no longer depends on popularity. You become more willing to make difficult decisions because your purpose becomes stronger than your fear. Instead of trying to fit into every expectation placed before you, you choose to live with honesty, clarity, and integrity, allowing your life to reflect your character rather than the constantly changing approval of the crowd. Your time and energy are among the most valuable resources you possess, yet they are often treated as if they are unlimited. Money can be earned again after it is spent. Opportunities may return in different forms. Even physical strength can be rebuilt through patience and effort. But a single hour that has passed can never be recovered. Every day you are given a limited amount of time, attention, and energy. And how you choose to invest them determines the direction of your life. If you spend these resources carelessly, you slowly drift away from the future you hope to create. Many people protect their money more carefully than they protect their attention. They think carefully before making a purchase, but they give away hours of their day without hesitation. Endless distractions, meaningless conversations, unnecessary arguments, and constant interruptions consume their focus. At the end of the day, they feel exhausted, yet they struggle to identify what meaningful progress they have actually made. This is because being busy is not the same as being productive. Activity without purpose only creates the illusion of achievement. Every decision carries a hidden cost. When you agree to something that does not align with your priorities, you are giving away time that could have been invested elsewhere. Every unnecessary commitment replaces an opportunity to learn, grow, rest, or build something valuable. Life is not only shaped by the things you choose to do, but also by the things you choose to decline. Learning to recognize this invisible exchange helps you become more intentional with every hour you spend. Energy is equally important because it influences the quality of everything you do. You may have enough hours in the day, but if your mind is constantly drained by stress, negativity, or emotional pressure, those hours become less effective. A tired mind struggles to think clearly. A distracted mind cannot focus deeply. An exhausted spirit loses the motivation to pursue meaningful goals. Protecting your energy means paying attention to what strengthens you and what quietly weakens you over time. Not every conversation deserves your participation. Some discussions exist only to create conflict rather than understanding. People often become trapped in endless debates, trying to convince those who have already decided not to listen. Instead of bringing clarity, these interactions consume emotional energy and leave frustration behind. Wisdom is recognizing that silence is often more powerful than proving yourself right. Your peace has greater value than winning every argument. Your environment also shapes the way your energy is used. The people you spend time with influence your thoughts, habits, and emotional state. Constant negativity has a subtle effect. Complaints become normal. Doubt grows louder. Motivation fades. On the other hand, surrounding yourself with disciplined, thoughtful, and purpose-driven individuals encourages you to become more focused. Energy is contagious, and the atmosphere around you quietly shapes the person you become. Modern life offers endless distractions that compete for your attention every moment of the day. Notifications interrupt your concentration. Social media invites endless comparison. Entertainment is available at every second, making it easy to postpone meaningful work. None of these things are harmful by themselves, but when they become habits without limits, they steal your ability to focus deeply. Great achievements are rarely created through scattered attention. They are built through consistent periods of concentrated effort. Many people wait until they feel motivated before protecting their time, but discipline works differently. Discipline creates structure before motivation appears. It teaches you to decide in advance what deserves your attention instead of allowing circumstances to make that decision for you. When your priorities are clear, saying no becomes easier because every distraction is measured against a purpose that matters more. Rest is also a valuable investment of energy. Protecting your time does not mean filling every hour with work. A mind that never recovers eventually loses its ability to perform at its highest level. Rest allows clarity to return. Reflection creates wisdom. Stillness renews the strength required for meaningful action. Taking care of yourself is not wasting time. It is preparing yourself to use your time more effectively. Every moment of focused attention becomes a building block for the future. Every wise decision about where you invest your energy shapes your habits, your character, and your direction. When you stop allowing distractions, unnecessary obligations, and the expectations of others to control your schedule, you begin creating a life that reflects your deepest priorities. Using each day with greater awareness, intention, and purpose while preserving the strength needed to continue moving toward what truly matters. One of the most liberating truths you can accept is that not everyone will like you, no matter how kind, honest, patient, or generous you are. Many people spend years trying to become the version of themselves they believe others will approve of. They change the way they speak, hide their opinions, suppress their personalities, and constantly adjust their behavior to avoid criticism. Yet despite all their effort, they still encounter rejection, misunderstanding, and judgment. This happens because approval is not something you can control. Every person views the world through their own experiences, beliefs, and expectations, and no amount of people pleasing can guarantee universal acceptance. The desire to be liked is natural. Human beings are social by nature, and belonging has always been important for survival. But there is a difference between appreciating healthy relationships and making acceptance the center of your identity. When your self-worth depends on how others feel about you, your emotions become unstable. A compliment lifts your confidence, while a single criticism destroys it. Your peace becomes controlled by opinions that change from one moment to the next, leaving you constantly searching for reassurance that never lasts. Some people will dislike you for reasons that have nothing to do with your character. They may misunderstand your intentions, disagree with your decisions, or simply see life differently than you do. Others may project their own fears, frustrations, or insecurities onto you. A person struggling with jealousy may interpret your success as arrogance. Someone uncomfortable with honesty may see your directness as harshness. These reactions reveal more about their perspective than about your true nature. Trying to satisfy everyone is an endless race with no finish line. The moment you change yourself to meet one person's expectations, another person expects something different. You become trapped in a cycle of constantly adjusting your behavior while moving further away from your authentic self. Eventually, you may look in the mirror and realize you have become a stranger to yourself because so much of your life has been spent trying to become what everyone else wanted. Authenticity requires courage because it accepts the possibility of rejection. Speaking honestly, living according to your values, and making decisions that align with your purpose will not always receive applause. Some people will disagree. Some will criticize. Some may even leave your life. While this can feel painful at first, it also creates space for relationships built on honesty instead of performance. The people who truly value you are not attracted to a carefully crafted image. They appreciate the person you genuinely are. Disappointment is an unavoidable part of living with integrity. Every meaningful decision involves choosing one path over another, and every choice will naturally disappoint someone. If you prioritize your family, someone may accuse you of neglecting work. If you focus on your career, others may question your personal life. If you choose peace over unnecessary conflict, some may mistake your silence for weakness. Living according to your values means accepting that criticism often accompanies conviction. There is strength in allowing people to have their opinions without feeling the need to defend yourself endlessly. You do not have to explain every decision or convince everyone that you are right. Your actions speak more clearly than repeated justifications. Quiet confidence grows when you stop seeking permission to live according to your principles. You become less interested in changing people's minds and more committed to remaining true to your character. The fear of rejection often causes people to remain in unhealthy relationships, tolerate disrespect, or ignore their own needs. They believe losing someone's approval would be worse than losing themselves. Yet every time you abandon your values to keep someone comfortable, you pay a price that cannot be measured. You weaken your confidence because you teach yourself that acceptance is more important than authenticity. Over time, this creates emotional exhaustion and quiet resentment. Respect is different from popularity. Popularity often comes from telling people what they want to hear. Respect comes from consistency, honesty, and integrity. People may not always agree with someone who lives according to strong principles, but they often recognize the strength it takes to remain true to those principles. A person with clear values earns trust because others know where they stand, even when the truth is uncomfortable. The moment you accept that not everyone will like you, a heavy burden begins to disappear. You stop wasting energy trying to control opinions that were never yours to manage. You become free to speak honestly, make thoughtful decisions, and build relationships based on mutual respect instead of constant approval. Rather than chasing acceptance from every direction, you invest your attention in becoming someone whose actions reflect wisdom, courage, compassion, and unwavering integrity, allowing your life to be guided by truth instead of the endless pursuit of being liked by everyone. Being strong does not mean becoming cold, distant, or emotionally closed. Many people believe that the only way to stop being taken advantage of is to harden themselves completely. They assume that kindness is a weakness and that compassion invites disrespect. As a result, they build walls around themselves, push people away, and mistake emotional distance for strength. But true strength is something entirely different. It is the ability to remain calm without becoming passive, to remain compassionate without becoming a victim, and to remain honest without becoming cruel. There is a common misunderstanding that being nice and being strong cannot exist together. In reality, genuine strength allows kindness to exist in its healthiest form. A weak person often says yes because they are afraid of rejection. A strong person says yes because they truly choose to help. A weak person stays silent because they fear conflict. A strong person speaks the truth with respect, even when it is uncomfortable. Strength is not measured by how loudly you speak or how aggressively you defend yourself. It is measured by your ability to remain grounded in your values, regardless of the pressure around you. Life constantly presents situations that test your character. Someone may criticize you unfairly. Another person may try to manipulate your emotions. Others may expect you to sacrifice your own needs simply because you have always been available. In these moments, your greatest power is not reacting with anger. It is responding with clarity. Emotional control is one of the highest forms of strength because it prevents temporary emotions from making permanent decisions. Choosing strength over niceness means learning to separate compassion from obligation. You can care about people without carrying every burden they place on your shoulders. You can support others without becoming responsible for every problem they face. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can do is encourage someone to take responsibility for their own life instead of rescuing them repeatedly. Constant rescue often creates dependence, while wise support encourages growth and independence. Honesty is another important part of real strength. Many people avoid difficult conversations because they fear hurting someone's feelings. Instead of speaking openly, they hide their true thoughts, hoping the problem will disappear on its own. Yet silence often creates greater misunderstanding than respectful truth. Honest communication, delivered with patience and calmness, builds trust because it allows relationships to be based on reality rather than hidden resentment. Being firm does not require aggression. A calm voice can carry tremendous authority when it comes from confidence rather than fear. You do not need to raise your voice to establish boundaries. You do not need to insult others to protect your dignity. The strongest individuals often remain composed during situations that would cause others to lose control. Their confidence comes from inner stability, rather than the need to dominate those around them. Self-respect is closely connected to strength. Every time you ignore your own values to gain approval, you weaken the relationship you have with yourself. Every time you allow disrespect simply to avoid conflict, you teach others how to treat you. Strength requires consistency. It asks you to honor your principles, even when doing so feels uncomfortable. This consistency creates inner confidence because your actions become aligned with your beliefs. Compassion without wisdom can lead to exhaustion. Wisdom without compassion can become harshness. Real strength is the balance between these two qualities. It understands when to help and when to step back. It knows when to speak and when silence is more powerful. It recognizes that protecting your own peace is not selfish, but necessary if you want to continue living with purpose and serving others from a place of genuine care. Many people fear that setting boundaries will make them less loving. The opposite is often true. Healthy boundaries allow love to exist without resentment. They create relationships built on mutual respect instead of constant sacrifice. People who truly care about you may need time to adjust, but they will eventually appreciate your honesty because it creates clarity rather than confusion. Choosing strength over niceness also means accepting responsibility for your own life. You stop blaming circumstances or waiting for others to validate your worth. You understand that your happiness, discipline, and peace are built through daily choices. You become less concerned with being admired and more focused on becoming a person whose actions reflect integrity. Instead of allowing fear to guide your behavior, You allow wisdom to shape your decisions, remaining calm in difficulty, compassionate in success, disciplined in every season, and unwavering in your commitment to live with honesty, courage, and self-respect every single day without surrendering your values for temporary approval or comfort. Remember this: you were never born to win everyone's approval. You were born to live with truth, strength, and self-respect. Stop sacrificing your peace to keep others comfortable. Be kind, but never at the cost of your dignity. Stand firm in your values, protect your energy, and let your actions speak louder than your need to be liked. The moment you stop trying to be nice to everyone is the moment you begin becoming the person you were truly meant to be. Thank you. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next one.